We are back. We are not doing things we should be doing on Salesforce again. And we are back from vacation. I am back from vacation. Glad to have you all back here for another stream. We're going to do some Monopoly. I think we should build some UI for Monopoly. Start figuring out what this could look like for players who are going to play the game. It's been a little while since we've had a session. I'm trying to find my shoes here, people. Where did they go? There we go. It's been a little while since we've had a session, a couple of weeks. I'm not going to recap everything that we got going on in our Monopoly app, but we got some stuff going on that is good. And let's get after it. Get my desk figured out here. Right. It's been a little bit. I have a sinking suspicion that I may have lost some metadata since our last show. I hope not. But I don't know if I pulled from the scratch.org the last time we worked. But that's okay, because we've been looking at a lot of flow for Forceopoly. No copyright infringements here. So let's do some front end work. I want to make some Lightning Web Components and maybe start with something simple like just a property view, or maybe like a role view. We have some flow for taking steps or taking turns and things like that. But I was thinking, like, what could we put in front of that? Just to start having some fun with our data model, with some LWC, and then maybe see where we merge the two together. Maybe we just start with a Lightning Web Component that renders like a property, right? The way that they look like in the regular Monopoly board. So I think let's start there. We could probably use that component for, if I look at a property, put the color across the top. Let's go find one on the on the internet and flatter that, and then we could also use it in an actual turn. We can show where people are landing, and maybe even string together a bunch of those cards, so that if you wanted to go look at the board for a game, we can build that too. So let's get going. Now, I never build a Lightning component without having another Lightning component to reference, because, well, I just don't remember how everything works. So I'm going to be pulling some stuff from some other projects here. First thing I'm going to do is close out a few of our screens here. Get our README up to date. Let's see, we don't need that. We have a script that loads properties. I need to make a script that loads cards here too. Turn object. Boy, I don't think we've done anything with that. This was my attempt to show you guys how random works. Let's not save that. Not super valuable. Here's our little scratch pad. I'm going to keep that. Our object model and our README. Object model should be the same as README at this point. Yeah, so let's get rid of that. Okay. Turn object. I'm going to hang on to that one for now. Okay, bunch of notes. Still have some things to consolidate. But let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's build a LWC. I'm just going to call it property. I think we're going to make a property look like a property. Okay, sure. All right. So let's get into our org and see where properties are showing up. Where can we use this component? I guess I gotta load my properties. Hang on a second. Thought we did that. Thought we did that here. Must have had an error. Let's see. What did we do wrong? I'm not going to waste a ton of our time on this, but if we can figure out what went wrong with our bulk data load job. Didn't process any records. That seems like a problem. Oh, we have the wrong field in our... Alright, let's take a little detour and make sure that our import job works. I think I just have the wrong field here somewhere. Let's see. There's a type field? Let's take a look. I thought we had a type field. I thought we had a type field just for the purpose of importing. Yeah, we do. So what was the problem? Field name not found. Oh. Maybe we need to update our permission set. Let's make sure that field's accessible. Yeah, it's there. So did we... What did I miss here? Record's not processed. No kidding. Invalid batch. Field name not found. Type. And I believe we have this. Do I have my script correct? Uploading properties from CSV properties. Type. That's a problem, people. Let's try it again. I'm just going to try it again. Cooking some records, hopefully. How do we do? Let's see. What's going on? Oh, it's still cute. Okay. Alright, well, while we're waiting for that, let's take a look. I guess I can't really take a look at a property. Let's find one on the Googles. Let's find a Monopoly property cards. So we can remember what these look like. Okay, Pinterest, you're killing me here. I'm not interested. We just need to find an image. Here we go. Somebody's selling St. James Place for a... Oh, these are old cards. Ooh. Oh, look at... Oh, okay. 1935, wow. I bet these aren't real. Anyway, alright, here's what it looks like. What is the Monopoly font? Ooh. Can we... Deed cards use a combination of copperplate, Gothic, and Futura. Okay. I wonder if we can find those on the internet or in Google fonts for our purposes. Let's check that bulk load job again. Make sure see if we got some data yet. Still queued. What is going on? Jeez. Taking its sweet time. Alright, well, we got the font. We can see what a deed card looks like. I bet you this is the copper... What is that? Copper plate. And Futura is probably the other stuff. So, alright, we'll see. Let's get going. We need a card, so we need a square. And then we need another square to put the stuff in. And then we need the rent and everything else. So, basically a bunch of merge data here. And let's get our property component. So we want to load, we're going to need the record ID of whatever we're working with here. So let's bring in that. Because we're going to put this on pages, record pages, and then we can probably use it for other purposes too. So we could use it to load itself. We could also use it, it would be nice to pass a property into it. If I'm looking at like a game page, I could pass in either a property or maybe a game property to render it that way too. But for right now, we'll work as if we're doing it just on the property page and load it that way. So, all right, we know we're going to pass in the record ID. So now we need to render this thing. We probably need some conditional logic in here to not render until we've actually loaded, but we'll get to that. Should we do this with Lightning Design System? Probably. Let's be good about that. Let's get that open. 2 Design System. We're going to need some padding and some borders and stuff like that. Okay. It's not going to look exactly... We want it to look like a cross between a Monopoly card in Lightning Design System. So actually, let's open up the LWC components library too, so we can reference a few things in there. We have a box. A box is just pure LWC. All right, so let's use that for our outermost box. So that'll contain the whole thing. Then we need another. I feel like I should be naming these. Well, that'll just be the outermost is just the property itself. So let's say div class. This is another. I don't know if it's really another box, but we'll start there. We're going to call this title. And there's some content in there. What does that need to be? Deed title and then the name. Something like that, with a break in between them. Okay. And then this is where our other stuff goes. So this is all centered. I suppose we could, let's make another div and we'll put that in there. And then there's like a center function here somewhere. Alignment. Don't always know what you need to search for in your absolute center. Sure, let's go with that. We may need to do some actual dimensions here. Okay, so now this is the rent and the houses. We're going to need a table for the houses. That looks a little different, but let's see. I'm just going to div out each of these rows here. Capital and a period. Let's see. Rent. We're going to do it all in dollars for a second, even though I think there's like an actual amount. There's a monopoly currency, right, that we can use. All right, so there's that. The next div, I'm just going to say table. Table for houses. And we've got with hotel. With hotel 9 some amount. Mortgage value. Some amount. Houses cost. Something each. And then hotels. Hotels. Did I forget that you can have multiple hotels on a property? Man, I think maybe I did. I don't know if that's a rule or not. Okay. And maybe we'll put the other stuff in there later. But we've got the guts of a house here. Let's go back and check our bulk upload again. Alright, it worked that time. Probably because I had a new scratch org and didn't actually upload the metadata for it to work. There we go. Look at all these wonderful properties. Atlantic Avenue, that looks like a great one to test with. Okay. So I think we're going to put the property card like right over here on this page. So this is going to be, this component needs to support record pages, so I have to go remember what the metadata is that we put in to targets, right? LWC targets. No, this isn't the example I want. Here we go. Okay, so we want record page. We probably want app page too for this component. So let's open up the meta. Exposed, yep. Targets. I don't think homepage. I don't think we actually need app page, because we're not gonna just render it on an app page. We're gonna call it through something else. Target config. Yeah, I don't know if we're actually gonna have any configuration. We're just gonna get the record ID and then load the property records. So, okay, we've got our meta is good. That is good. That is okay for now. So we'll save this stuff out. And then let's put a really garbage looking one of these out on the page. So let's edit this property page. And oh, I think we're still waiting for stuff to save. Let's see, I got an error in here somewhere. Unexpected end of file. Oh, we got something wrong in our... what are we missing? There's some HTML in here somewhere. Oh, template expressions. All right, yeah, I'm kind of doing this wrong. Is it cool with the other ones though? That's weird. Okay, apparently. Reload this and hopefully we'll see our component show up. And we do. So we'll pull this property out. Okay, that looks terrible, but it works for now. And let's make this the default for everything. All right. That looks really wrong, but we're good. I don't know why the divs why the divs don't break. It must be because they're in this absolute center section. That's fine. We'll figure that out. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to load the actual data for this record. So let's take a look at this. Now we can load the record this way. I think that's fine. Can just use a get record, wire it up. It's funny, I don't do it this way as much because I usually end up with Aura enabled components or Aura enabled Apex that is loading multiple records at once. But hey, let's go through this. Can we go through this? Should we go through this? I guess is the question, because if we do, I'm just concerned about the reuse of the call. But let's see. I think we can just call get record. Do you have to pass get record to a wire event? I don't know if you can just call get record on its own if you import it. I would like to. Let's see if we can find... I'm afraid it's just a wire adapter, so that's not really what I necessarily want. Although, well, the challenge is we don't necessarily... I want to be able to use this component in a couple of different ways. I plan to use it on this page and tell it the record ID from the page that it's on using the API and then have it load. But I also want to use this as part of a collection, so I could say game, I'm on a game page and I want to draw the board. I'd actually like the game component to load all the properties, probably the game properties, and then pass the properties into some loop where it's giving each property component the property itself. So what we actually would have is we would use record ID if we want to load it, if we want the component to load itself. But then I'm going to pass, I could also pass property record, I'll say, for when I want it to load by passing something to it. So I think what we could do is use a getter and setter here, and then see if, basically check to see in a connected callback if record ID is populated, load it. I'd love to do that with a wire adapter, but I'm not sure I can do that. I feel like I can't. I feel like if I want to use get record, I have to use the wire adapter, or else I'm, yeah, if I'm not wiring, I can't. I don't think I can use it. I can't just call get record. Can you? I don't think so. Yeah, you have to wire it. So that's fine. We'll just... And I don't want to just have it wire, because I may not have the... if I'm already passing it in, I don't think I can handle an error to say, oh hey, you passed in the record ID, but or you passed in the record ID, that's fine. You didn't pass in a record ID, you passed us the record, that's not fine. So let's, I'm gonna do this with an Apex controller for property. Okay. This is going to return a property. Property by ID, and we'll pass in the record ID that we load in, and we will return okay. That'll return something. That'll get us started. We got a bunch more fields that we need to reference in there, but that's good enough for now. And now we need to reference this back over here, which I'm going to shamelessly steal from another component. Stealing from inefficient icon inventory. This reference always, I can never remember, so we'll just copy and paste. Okay, get property by ID, and we'll call that in our callback. I'm going to steal some more code here. I like to set this up as such, so take a little bit of the junk out of here. Next Tuesday, we'll take a look at inefficient icon inventory. Made some updates to the components over there, so we can check that out. Okay, so connected callback, we're going to init, and when we init, we're going to load property record with this. Okay, take this other stuff out because it's not from this project. There we go. That's an async await, so you can just call init async, and the awaits will go in sequence to load the variables that you want. We'll have to come back to this and add some conditional logic that says if, I guess we could do it right here, right? We can just say if, not there. Let's do it here. If this property record does not equal, it's not undefined, then go query this out. I can't think of a reason why we would have to query it again, so we can be pretty safe that this will, if I pass record, if I pass a property to it, which I'm going to do later, I don't want it to go get the record again, otherwise go ahead and load it. So, all right, and then we'll say property component initialized. I always like to put a, it usually ends up being handy to know if your component's been initialized or not at some point, so I just put a flag in all my LWCs to do that. Okay, so we have our, did we save our Apex? Yeah, we're not doing any CRUD validation, I know. We're being naughty. Checking out screen 2 to see what nothing going on. Nothing going on at work. We're good. Proceed with stream. So I got a bunch of other stuff on my desktop here. I gotta get a sweeter desktop for the show. Okay, that is our component, and let's just test that this, you know, are you live? Oh, you know what we need to do is turn on Lightning Debug in this org. And there we go. And now we can refresh this page and see if we're actually loading anything. So I'm going to inspect this. I much prefer this being in its own window. Here we go. Alright, let's check. Yuck, a lot of junk there. Let's check our modules. Here's property, and we're initializing here, so we should be loading our property there. I'm going to put a break on these two as well, just to see if we drop into error mode. Test that again. Oh, my logic's backwards. We only want to run that if it is undefined. Okay. Yay, we got a property record. Okay. Now let's get some actual useful fields. Let that play out. So what do we need? We need the name. We need a lot of stuff. Let's open up the... actually, we can open this in... Let's open up our property object in here. You can see all the fields. All right, we want... most of them, I'm guessing. We need name, color, We might as well grab pretty much everything here. I'm sure it might come in handy. I don't know if position will be necessary, because I think it's just gonna, this is just gonna render, so even if it was rendered as a board, it's not actually gonna it's not gonna need to know about its position. It'll just be told and probably looped over based on position. So okay, position rent. Let's grab the record types too. It's redundant with type. I think our type field is just there to for import purposes. There we go. That should be everything. Got it. And now let's merge some fields here. So I always like to do an outermost template that evaluates if the thing that I'm going to render actually exists. So if we have a property record, because then it will react to once that is populated. I don't know what I just pushed. It was not paste. There we go. Okay, we got a property record, so if we have that, we should be able to do property record.name. Rent is property record dot something. What is that? Property cost. Let's do a quick test to make sure that these are coming through. Indeed they are. Atlantic Avenue. Maybe I'm not querying, I must have forgotten a field. I don't think I'm querying property cost. Did I miss that one? Yep. Got to fix this layout. Doesn't look right. Also, this isn't centered. So, oh, we can set the color of that also. So if we're going to set the color, this is always fun. We got to make ourselves a class to do that with. I learned an interesting trick over in Icon Land. Setting the properties dynamically. First of all, we are going to need a CSS file on this. Oh, hello. That was weird. See if I can reenact this. All right, so we can do a dynamic do some dynamic property setting in here, I think. So we want .title. We want that div to have a background color. So we'll go over here and say .title, and then we'll say background color, And I'm going to make this a variable called title background color. Yep. And then we'll set that title background color in our callback. Go over here. No, go here. So do all this stuff. And then here at the end, I'm going to set the property of title background color as whatever that is on the color. Okay. A little easier than trying to locate in the DOM and all that fun stuff. Hopefully this works. This should be some color now. Or I think that's yellow. I think Atlantic is part of the yellow set. So let's go back here. Hey, yellow. Yay. Good deal. I really it's difficult to dynamically render styles in LWC. Like my alternative would be to create some kind of CSS class property and then do some string hackery to make that to get it to render inline with whatever I want. But I really love this model better because I can just specify I can use my CSS the way it's meant to be used, and then I'm just changing the variable on the fly in my JavaScript with this reference. Everything set property aligns to anything that's a var inside of your CSS. So cool stuff. There's a lot of SLDS has a lot of design token stuff that bases off of this as well. So you can, shove different, I think like padding, if I wanted to shove padding in here, I can use a design token that references an SLDS property, a CSS property, and then I can just rely on that. So I don't have to use it by name, kind of like we're doing here. Oops. So I'll bring this up in a second, but I think like this, absolute blah 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 absolute center. I think you can reference this in a different way to get it to render the way that you want it to. Obviously, something funky is going on with absolute center here. I'm going to take this away and see if it corrects the horizontal stacking that's taking place here. It's almost like it's putting it into grid mode somehow. I don't know how. Maybe it's the box that we put it in. Let's see what happens if we update this. Yep, that's a little better. It's not centered, but I think, again, what we can do is just, we can always just use our own CSS here. So we'll probably call all of this, let's call this top level box card. Not to be confused with an SLDS card, just our own property. And we'll just center everything there. I have stuff deploying on save. It's a little slow sometimes, but when I get into LWC work, it's a whole lot easier to have that enabled. Otherwise, I forget inevitably that something wasn't deployed, and I wonder why my stuff doesn't work. There we go. That's a little better. We still have to do the table work here, but good. Starting to look like a card, kind of. Let's tweak some. There's obviously some padding and whatnot going on here. Let's see what the settings are. I'm going to go side by side here. Hopefully y'all can still see this. Yeah, so the top level box, I think it's the box. Where are you? Is it the box that has padding? Or is it the... Yeah, it's got padding because of the... Wait, where are you coming from? That's the property. So we applied a box here, honestly, just to get the rounded corners. We could just set card. Let's just set the padding. I think it's padding that's making that happen, so we'll just set that to 0. My phone just told me to stand. I've been at a standing desk for 6 hours today. So I think we're good. Thanks, Apple. There we go. Okay. So a box in a box. Let's go back to our Monopoly card. What do they look like? There's a border. I think I'm going to take away the box references and we'll make our own borders and such on these. So the card and the title, let's get rid of those. Because what we want is, we want a border, I don't know, 5 pixels. There, and then on the title, we also need a border. And from the looks of it, we've got some padding, let's say 15 maybe. Let's put that on the card. I'm going to put that on the title too, so it doesn't get all smashed up. Probably some more efficient CSSing that we could do here. I just thinking on the fly. Alright, how's that look? Need a background color too. Need to put some light on here. Alright, hey, look at that. Not bad. Let's turn this down to 10, I think. And we'll put a background color. And we'll see if we can find some web references to these fonts. Poke around at that in a second here. Okay. 5 is probably a little too big for the border, but that's all right. We got something started. Can we do fonts? Copperplate, Gothic, web font. I don't want to download it. I just want to reference it. So maybe is there a CDN for that? It's also pretty prominently available, I think, on devices, so we might be able to just get away with just calling Copperplate. Let's try that. Mileage may vary on your device, but we'll start there. I probably have it on my Mac. Let's see. And then the other one was Futura. I think I have that installed too, but oh, here's a CDN. Okay. Copperplate Gothic. How do you import right in the... I don't know if you can... Can you import right in the component? Because I don't have access to, like, link, and I don't think so, anyway. Well, let's just see how we did here for a second. Okay, that worked. Probably not transferable across devices, but that's okay. We're going to do a little inline mojo here. We'll call this what do you call it? Class equals DT. And we'll call this equals property name. Put these into our CSS. Oh, they're down here. Have to eyeball this a little bit. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Let's go with that. A little bit of tidying up to do, but I'm happy. So Futura, I do want to come back to this. I do want to figure out, I'd like to do this in the style sheet. Can I do that? Can you import? No, not important. It's been a while since I've import a style sheet into another style sheet. Yeah. Can we just do that? Let's try it. I wonder what kind of cross-browser drama we might get here, but, or what do you say? Cross-domain. So if I do that, I should be able to then reference it like this, right? Corporate Gothic standard. How do we do? I bet you this has to be invalid import statement. Try it again. I wonder if it actually pinged that. Yeah. Invalid import statement. I'm probably doing this wrong. Let's see. If there was somebody smarter than me at this on the stream, feel free to... I don't think I can do a style reference like this, and I don't know if I really want to. So the question is, can you call import from the style sheet. Getting way little off track here, but I am curious. Include one CSS file in another, right? That's what we want to do. Yeah, just import. So it just doesn't like it, I guess. LWC says, nope, we will not let you do that. Invalid import statement, unable to find imported module. Must not like it from a URL, because it looks like this would. Oh boy. No thanks, Geeks for Geeks. Yeah, I just don't think it's gonna. It's just not having it. What if we just do? I don't think this is gonna work either, but we'll try it. This didn't use a URL, but it's also a relative path, so I'm guessing that's probably still going to give us some heartburn. No dot in reference module or start relative, yeah, so it would have to be URL, but it don't like that. So, all right, can't do that. I guess what we could do if we really wanted to was download the download the fonts or reference them with maybe with a static resource file, but we won't belabor that anymore. Can we get our Futura reference back? Oh, I got to get rid of this. Right. Font family copperplate, and then in our, well, actually just in our body overall, which I think we can do up here. Font family Futura. Sure, let's try it. If this works, we're gonna get a quick 2-minute drink break, and then we'll come back. Keep cranking on our card component, or property component, I should say. Hey, look at that. Cool. We're going to merge the rest of the fields, do some scaling, and then we're going to have something. There's a little weird thing going on here, too. I don't know what that... It's like it's faded, isn't it? Maybe we'll just make that bigger. If it doesn't work, make it bigger. No problem. All right, quick break. I'll be right back. And we're back. Brought my beverage. Going to 6 o'clock tonight. Let's style this a little bit more. I think that's all the same font size. We just need to make it generally bigger. Just do one rem on the whole thing. How's that look? All right, not bad, not bad. Put some padding around that. I'm going to close out these other pages because I have a feeling that they're choking my browser to death. Okay, so we got a div here. This is the, let's call this the body, I guess. We'll put 10 pixels of padding around that also. And then we're going to build, we need to build, let's get a couple of these other fields merged in. I think hotel cost is just property cost, right? It's always the same. Yeah. Oh, whoops, that's not. This is rent hotel. Okay. Mortgage. That's rent. No, mortgage. Isn't the mortgage always, we determined that's always half of the, is that always, that's always half of the purchase price, I think. But we don't have a field for that? Something to look into, I guess. Let's look at our import file, because I think it's in there, it's just not mapped. No, it's actually not. I think it's just half. I think the mortgage is half of the... Hey, let's look it up. Monopoly, mortgage, half. How can I not know this? Yeah, it's half the purchase price of the property. All right, so we'll just now we actually probably need to do that math in our component. because math doesn't work good in. So let's do a get get mortgage value. What's that called? Property cost divided by 2. Okay. We can reference that. What did I do wrong? And then what does this look like? With one house. Okay. I can't type. There we go. Just put a rudimentary table together for this. This is going to be rent one house. Sorry, rent house 1. I'll have to do some styling. You might be able to get away with like some even odd references in CSS to tell it how to make these look. I really just want the even ones to be to the right, aligned to the right, but let's just see how we did here. Change these. That's 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, not bad, not bad. I think we can probably give this well, let's see, can we write a line? We need a little, isn't there a little $sign that needs to be in there somewhere too? Technically it's only supposed to be on the first one, but I'm going to be lazy and put it on all of them because I could see that being complicated. And they got the dot here at the end. That's very pretty historic reference there, I guess. Okay, so can we, let's see, body. We've got a body, we've got a table. Can I get at this with some CSS? So within the body, we got a table. And then how do you reference CSS odd index, even and odd elements? So this will be a TD, and I think it's, yeah, I assume this is 1 based, not 0 based. Let's see, text align to the right. What do we think about that? Maybe we'll put some padding on the left and right of the... Would you look at that? Wow. That is a Monopoly card. For sure. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Okay. Yeah, so that's us passing. Probably could tone down the borders a little bit, but hey, that's Atlantic Avenue. With all the info laid out, all the other details. Cool. So now, where else would we use this? I would use this on a game. Can we build a board? What is that going to look like? Well, we could have a component called board that is on the game, on a game record. Let me... Does our start game flow still work? Sure hope so. Create new game. That is activated. Is it activated? It is activated. Let's run that. Did we put that? I don't... I feel like we replaced the new function with that flow. No, we did not. All right, well, let's run this. Let's make a new game. Hopefully, this still works. It's been a little while since we've run this one. Welcome to Forceopoly. Cool. Pick your players. Player 1 is the battleship. I'm going to be a total slug, and I need another user, I think. I don't have... Yeah, sure, let's use security user. What could possibly go wrong there? We'll make him the boot. No more players, please. Drum roll. Oh, get next player is invalid. Oh. We're missing an active flow, I think. Get next player. No, that is loaded. Current player and null have incompatible data types. Bleep blop bloop. Validated against version 1 of the next player. Get next player flow. Shucks. We will probably do this manually because I'm not going to try to debug this. Did it actually create a game? Oh, it did. All right. It survived. It survived that step, but we blew up our get next player, so that's okay. Let's see what we got here. We got our data for the game. Do we have our related stuff? No. We didn't get through that part. That's okay. Is it okay? It's kind of not okay. We kind of need the... we kind of need that to work. So get next player. It was not having it with this. All right. Interesting. What did it blow up? What was it upset about? In the input assignment, current player and null have incompatible data types. Validated against version 1. All right, so we have a input parameter. Let's go back to our create new game here. We did this, we inserted our... I guess we probably rolled back from insert players through to get next player, right? Current player is null. So we need to... Wait. Is get next player smart enough to see that Well, that's interesting. I've never run into that before. So, the input assignment, current player and null have incompatible data types. So it can't just be null? That's weird. I think I want it to be null, and then I evaluate for that here. Current player is null, true. I guess I could just launch this flow and then see what it, what does it return me? But what else does it need? Oh, that's a problem. Yeah. All right. So this is our flow that determines who's playing next, and so we check and see, like, is the current player null? If yes, then we go find our next player. That's not super helpful because I don't have a current player to determine who the game is for. So I feel like we need to probably pass that in instead of relying on it. All right, let's modify this. So we'll say current player, and then we'll say current game, or just game ID. Let's add a new resource. Call it game ID. All right, we'll make that passable. Activate that. We really haven't tested a lot of these flows in a little bit, so this is good, I guess. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to make this game ID. And then I want to make this game ID. And then I want to activate this again, or save it with the new version. Didn't need to make a bunch of versions there. All right, let's reactivate that. And then let's go over here and reload this. So much quieter working on flows compared to my clicky keyboard when we're building LWCs. Guess I don't need this bulk import anymore. Okay, so get next player. We're going to pass, say don't include this, right? Well, include it but leave it null. Game ID, we want game ID from insert game. Okay. I'm not being a very good flow builder and putting some notes into my property or description here. Let's see how we did. I'm going to trash this game because this is nonsense. And then we can try to create a new game again. Let's go. Player 1 battleship. Player 2 boot. No more players, please. Ah! I'm confused. I got an idea. Current player, this is our get next player. So current player, let's edit this. Oh shoot, can I? I can't. I want to make, oh wait. Save as, new version. Can I default? I mean, it's null. Like, there's no way around that. So, fine, activate that. Let's go over here and not include this. Try this version. Debug this. There we go. Okay. It must have been empty, right? So instead of it being null, I guess it was empty string or something weird. Let's see what all of our... I think this was the game that actually worked. Yep. All right, cool. So we'll trash the other one. We tested one of our flows a little bit. I really want that flow to be what fires up when you click new on a game, because then we can just, because we should just do that. All right, so here on the game record, we should build a board, right? This is going to be fun. Just realize that the property, we built the property for a property, right? But we built the property component for a property. What we need is that to now be flexible to render other things. So if the property type is go, or free parking, or go to jail, or whatever, we have to render those. And if it is community chest or a railroad or that kind of stuff, we need to render that differently. And then I think like a railroad card looks different, right? Like it's got some, I think the rules for its costs are on the back of it. So I guess that's something to think about too. Like when we render, should we render the back of these? Also, I could go to game properties, right? And maybe we reuse our property component to, in the context of a game property, who currently owns it, does it have houses on it, all that kind of fun stuff. So for right now though, let's build a board component that we can drag onto our game here. And I'm going to start with it just being like kind of strung end to end. And then we'll figure out if we can turn it into a square. Or maybe, I always felt like, does it really matter? If the board, what if our board was just like, here, put it in the center, here's the current property that's being evaluated in the game. Like it's the current turn, current person's turn. This is where their piece is. Ooh, we could put the piece on the board. That would be cool, right? We could try that. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just make a board component, and we can start by just at least proving that we can reuse our property component for some of that. So let's go back over to our VS Code. I'm probably still going to need the property stuff up, but I'm going to make a new LWC. I'll call that board. I'm going to make a new Apex class called LWC board. So we can use it as a controller for this. I think we're going to need a load properties, right? Or load game properties. Let's get a list of game properties. Then we can derive the properties out of those. So load game properties, and we'll pass in the game ID. Okay, we know we're going to return something. We have some sorting and such to do for this, but good enough to bring it to life for right now. We will again need the record ID of the game this time. And we want to expose this, and if I look at my other we're going to put this on a record page. Okay, exposed and on a record page. Then in our board we need to make reference to that call. There we go. Okay, so we can load our properties on our board. Let's do a little work over on the template side of this. Actually, we probably want we're going to want game properties to loop over, and we can evaluate that that exists. The game property will know about its property, so we can just pass we need to do a for each in here. Stealing a for each from my so we're going to loop over the game properties. We'll use the Salesforce ID of the of each of those. Actually, don't. This is. We can make this simpler. Yeah, we do need a key, but what we can call is C property, right? Make that the key, and then the property record. Do we expose that as a... Yep, so we expose that as API, so we can pass that from our board down to our component, and we're going to pass that as gp.property, which I'm not referencing yet in the query, but it'll be there in a second, and we're basically just going to loop over a bunch of those. We may need to do some mojo on the... Yeah, we probably could put that on the property if we wanted to, the actual record. You know, maybe we don't... I'm just thinking about the corners, right? If we're gonna lay it out as it really is laid out, we'll have to know. I think it's just mod 10, right? Like every corner is you got 10 spots, then a corner, 10 spots, then a corner. So yeah. Okay, so we need to query out a little bit more here. Right. This isn't going to be perfect. We got a lot more fields that we need to pull back because our property is expecting a lot of fields to be on this guy. We do want to order by property dot position. Is that the right field? Yep. They're in ascending order, so let's do that. I'm just going to go steal right off of the other, right off of this guy, all the other fields that we need. This isn't terribly elegant. I probably would do this with a little bit more reuse in mind if I if this was a more critical project, but hey, we are definitely repeating ourselves, and so be it. There we go. So that gets us all the fields that the property is expecting. So hypothetically, when we are over on our board, well, we need to load that, so hold on a second. Let's pull this over. Okay. Let's load our game properties, board component initialize, and equals false. Game properties equals load game properties. What did we call that? Called it game ID. Let's make sure I messed this up so many times. I'm like, why won't my thing query? Because you didn't reference the property, the parameter name correctly. Alright, so we'll have a record ID, we're going to get that, we get our game properties, we're not doing any styling here right now. And that should render something. We got to put it on the page, otherwise it's not going to render anything. Okay, let's go to our game, edit this page, I'm going to put it right at the top here. It's not going to be pretty, but we just want to poke it with a stick, make it do something. We're going to find out really quick that a lot of our properties are not going to look very nice because they're not title deeds. But that's how it goes. Put the board. It'll let me. Can I put it right underneath there? Yep. Make this the default for everything. Say one more time and then we'll probably start wondering why it doesn't load. Come on, let's get lucky. Okay, let's do some debug because we're not seeing anything here. Game properties equals load game properties. All right, we have game properties. Within those, we have a property object. Within those, we have everything we hypothetically need to render with. So now, we don't have as our... I don't see any properties being looped over. So let's go over here. Oh, because we probably didn't save this. See what I mean? That would help. Hopefully. If that doesn't help, it's something else. Alright, we know our board's working. It looks like it wants to. It recognizes the property is going to happen. So we should already have property records being set. Let's see. This should fire like 40 times because we should have a whole bunch of them. Property record. Oh, stupid proxy stuff. This is always my favorite. Good old-fashioned JSON stringify this dot property record. There we go. It's got everything in it. This is Go, so this is our first. This is not going to look right, but that's okay. We knew that was going to happen. So it is not undefined, therefore we should not be loading it. The next one is something else. Can I go back to the console and do that again? The next one is Mediterranean Avenue. Alright, getting somewhere. Just rendered Go. That looks super awesome. Okay. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to turn this off because I feel like it's doing something and let it finish. And here we go. What did we get? What did we end up with? Now that's interesting because the variable model for doing the style sheet. Oh, wait. I didn't mark that as a host. I think that's part of the problem. Yeah, we have to reference... I think we have to reference host in front of each of these, so it... Although I think it's working globally right now, so whichever this is the color of Boardwalk, if I had to guess. But it's working. It looks horrible, but it's doing its job. Now we got to fix a few things to make this work at the right scale. So I think we have to say host title here. This is where the variable comes into play. Let's try that. Honestly, in the other space that I used this, I didn't have multiple of the same component or multiple instances of the same component in the same page. So I'm curious if that will work. Nope, it doesn't. So that's something I have to figure out. We can fall back to the other approach where... So I guess today I learned that the CSS is shared by the component and not by instances of the component. So that becomes a problem when you want to do the variable references. So that's fine. We won't do it that way. We'll just create we'll just have to create a string, a style string for that. Let's do that real quick. This won't work, so we're going to do it a different way. think we can leave everything else though. Alright, so we're going to get rid of our variable CSS. We're going to bring that up to the... We're now going to make that a JavaScript property. So we'll make a property called title background color, or just title style, I guess, in case we have to throw some more stuff on there. Right. And then once we, let's see, if we init that, then we aren't going to do this. Instead, we're going to do, we're going to create this dot title style equals background color do that. So it can be used, the variable, the CSS variables can be used if your component only appears once on the page. And I'm not smart enough to say that you could use it for multiple components. I will dig into that a little bit because I'm curious myself. But for right now, we're just going to write title style. This is what I was hoping to avoid. I hate doing this. It's just there's no way to merge more elegantly in the template. I'm going to have to pull this into the template here. So because this is going to be, let's see, title and then style equals title style. So now we'll have it unique per component. We should. There we go. Cool. As you can see, like, here's a chance card, right? It doesn't have any of this other stuff on it. So we have to have some conditional logic based on the type or the record type to say, are you this? If so, look different. I think we can, I would keep it all in the same component for right now, as opposed to having a property component versus a card component versus a free parking component. Like it's fine. You know, we're not gonna. This is not gonna be a big deal. These look dumb though, so let's maybe what we can do is adjust our board component, and let's put a div around these. I'm going to style this inline. I will move it to a CSS file in a second. So let's make the width, I don't know, 400 pixels, and let's float these to the left so they'll kind of stack up on each other, and then we'll put our component inside of that. Whoops. Okay. What did I do? Oh, missing key element. Oh, right. Yep. Now that we're wrapping it, we got to put the key out further up. Reasonable. A reasonable request. How'd we do? This is going to go forever off to the side, hopefully. That's kind of the intent. Oh, no, it's wrapping. Okay. Well, getting better. Getting better. It's wrapping because these are different. These end up being different heights. So, that's okay. You know, we could have like a big view and a small view of these. That'd be kind of cool. I also just realized, like, these are the deeds, right? We need a different view. This is not what's on the board. Duh. So we just implemented, we implemented something else that we need, but this is not the component to loop on, because the property, it doesn't have all this stuff on the board itself. That's fine. We'll make another. We'll make a board. I'm trying to think of the word. Board step or something like that, so that it renders what the board wants to display, which is the price of the property, and that's where we'll put our logic for the other stuff. So, in effect, we won't render this for other properties. Like if I go over here and go to go, all right, we don't want to show this, but we can show the board step for this, and then just not render this. And then for something like Atlantic Avenue, we'll show the board step and we'll show the title, the deed title, and then we got two things there. So cool. So what do we do today? Well, first I'm going to pull this stuff from the. I don't think I have much to pull, but I don't want to lose anything and be sad. We built a LWC that shows the title, the deed title or title deed, whatever, for properties, and then I accidentally tried to use that to render the board. So next time we'll work on a board step, I guess, that actually renders what that step looks like on the board itself. And yeah, then we'll be able to. We also tested our flow to create a game. I think we can now adjust the default action for game new to use that flow. If we can get that to pop up. I can't remember if we can do that in a Lightning Web component or if we have to do that in a Aura component. We'll take a look at that next time too. I probably should take some notes for what we're going to work on next time. Let's see. Next time, I need to push some code into the repo too. It's been a little while since we've done that. But next time, we're going to build, I'll call it the board step LWC. We're going to new game equals that flow, and we'll see where else we end up from there. But I guess I'm going to wait forever for this to pull from the org, and then I will push that into our repo. Updates are coming on the YCD TOSF web page. I'm going to build out a projects section now that we're working on a couple of different things. Tuesdays will be inefficient icon inventory, and Thursdays will continue to be Forceopoly. And we'll see if maybe there's some other days to work in there too. I'm trying to get some blog posts and things like that for some of the stuff that we've built one-off, some like the random flow and a few other things. Just keep running out of time each week, man. I don't know what's up with that. I guess it's because I got 20 other projects going on, but that's okay. Thanks for hanging out today. Sign off and see you on Tuesday, and maybe with some video previews of what we're gonna do on those. I start posting those and see if I can entice some more people onto the stream. But For now, thank you. See you next week.